Loma Wharton, Ray Kapika, the National Constitutional Sheriff's Association on the program right now. Morning, Loma.
Good morning.
Yeah, we have Ray. Hey, Ray.
Good morning, Bill.
All right, good morning to both of you. National Constitutional Sheriff's Association, of course, your main mission out there, you want to preserve the office of the sheriff to be the legitimate constitutional peace officer in the area, right? Fair enough? Bottom line, right?
Bottom line.
Okay, great. Been working hard on this, I know. And in the past, you have brought on information from Apache County, Arizona, in which they've had the county commissioners, for all intents and purposes, talking about health and safety and welfare and getting some work being done back on public lands in the forests.
Correct.
So we're up to date here. Fine. You have been talking with folks here in Jackson County, and I imagine Josephine County and elsewhere, too, trying to find a friendly air, right?
Right. All over the Northwest.
All over the Northwest, you're saying, hey, there are ways to do this. You don't have to be just kowtowing and licking the boot of gangrene and worrying about, you just have to use your actual authority, right?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
And the people might ask, why are we interested in that as the National Constitutional Sheriff's Association? And the reason is that our counties receive the majority of their budgets through the federal welfare programs that are directly connected to our forest and natural resources. And our sheriff's departments are suffering.
Yeah, even Jackson County has suffered. There have been real cuts in the sheriff's office for a number of years here now. Josephine County, of course, big problems there. Now, you both are in Douglas County. How are you doing there?
We're not as bad off as others, but if things continue, we will be very shortly.
Well, that's okay, because we prefer to burn our forests rather than harvest them.
Right.
I think that's our policy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what is happening, and if people don't realize that, then they must be asleep.
Okay, very good. So we had a person who submitted a letter to the Jackson County Commission. We're going to leave the name out. They wish to remain anonymous. Could you tell us the story there about disinformation on this process, what happened with Arizona?
Sure. We, as we've been talking with the counties, a lot of the feedback that we've been getting is, well, we contacted Arizona and they said that there's really not that much work that's being done, or they only did 89 acres, or, things aren't what they seem. And every time I've checked up on it, I found that wasn't true. Well, finally, we got notice that John Rasher had said that he talked to the county manager, and the county manager had basically said that there wasn't a whole lot going on. So I called Apache County manager Delwin, and he was very upset. And
Why?
I said, look, will you send me an email, please? And he said, yes, absolutely. I'll CC you, and I'll send it back to John. So if you'd like to read that response, that's fine, or I can sum it up.
Okay, go ahead and just sum it for right now.
Okay. Basically what he said is that he was terribly upset regarding the downplaying of the projects that are going on in Apache County.
This is the folks from Arizona are upset, right?
The folks from Arizona, from Apache County.
Okay, there.
Regarding the downplaying of the projects that are going on there, and doesn't understand why they're doing this. Because there is a lot of work going on in Apache County, and he would never say otherwise.
Okay. So who is pushing the nothing's going on there?
Well, John Rasher has said it. The attorney's presentation that was done in Jackson County before Bridenthal came on, right before Bridenthal came on. What a great political ploy. We've also had the same thing come out from Marsha Armstrong in Siskiyou County, from our two commissioners here, Doug Robertson and Joe Lawrence, basically said the same thing. Cheryl Walker. It's been the mantra through these counties. Why? The only reason that I can think of is because they are so attached to the federal welfare that they don't want to do anything else.
So if you rock the boat, if you cause problems, if you end up saying we're going to take our authority and start opening up some of these timberlands, these O&C lands, which by law were supposed to be generating some wealth off in the first place, we start doing this, we may find ourselves in trouble with the federal government in other areas. Fewer grants, fewer welfare checks being cut. I don't know. We don't know, but it's just a theory, right?
That is such a fallacy. Apache County has proven that the monies won't stop. Now, at this point, because they've waited so long, they've stopped anyway. Here are the facts. They are not going to get any more money. They are pushing hard to try to get it into the new forest bill. If they do, it will be at anywhere from a 70 to a 90% reduction of what they've been used to, but the chances of them getting it through are slim to none. So they need to not count on that money anyway. And we've been telling them this for 5 years, that the money is going away. It's
been a safer bet to figure that the timber replacement money is not going to be there because we're seeing less and less of it all the time, what little there has been.
Not just less and less of it, but what went out last year, a vast majority of it was sequestered.
That's right. They were asking for some of it back, weren't they?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is really interesting. What about that email that a local citizen ended up sending to the board? Has there been any pushback from that? Could you sum that, or is it?
They have not responded. They still have a few days to respond, and they're waiting on that response. They want a full investigation of why they would be lying about this. This is something that we want to start up here too, and find out why our two commissioners have been lying to us about it. Mm-hmm. This process is so simple, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe it has to be as complicated as what they've been dealing with the federal government in order for it to make sense to them. But all we are asking the counties to do is to enforce the laws already on the books.
And what laws on the books would, let's say, Jackson County use to open up some timber work?
The Association of Oregon Counties white paper explains it in detail what their authority is. They have the authority right now to go back into on the O&C County lands and force the federal government to allow them to log exactly what it says in there to log. They don't have the courage to do it. And the people of these counties are not standing up and telling them, do it or we're going to yank you out of office. That's the real issue here.
So they have the existing power structure, though, from the sounds of it, has a vested interest in status quo of doing nothing.
Exactly.
Sure.
And that's because we're doing nothing here at the county to hold them accountable. If the counties do the health, safety, and welfare ordinance resolution, yes, what happens then, and I challenge anyone out there to find anywhere where it says that the counties shall coordinate. It doesn't. It says that the federal agencies shall coordinate.
It's not up to the county to coordinate.
Correct. It's up to the county to make sure that the federal government and the BLM do what they're supposed to do under the Northwest Forest Program, under the ONC, under all of the acts and current regulations that are already on the books. And this has been the big contention from Congress in the Natural Resources Department. Do the job. Do what it says in the current acts and regulations. And the Forest Service says, we can't. We get sued all the time.
Yep.
Well, that's true. They do get sued when they do this.
Well, and the reason that they do is because they have no insulation. Once these programs were passed, the lawyers got involved and they put into place the Equal Access to Justice Act,
which is the sue and settle deal where the KS Wilds and the Water Watches of the world are, for all intents and purposes, able to, no risk, sue the government to stop it.
Which has now been finally shot down by the courts.
Yep.
But again, it takes the counties. We forget that we are a government from the bottom up because we have been so propagandized into thinking otherwise.
All right, let me think this through then. So the county commissioners What would the county commission here in Jackson County have to do? You talked about they would have to pass an ordinance on the health, safety, and welfare of their citizenry.
That's the first thing that happens.
So they would have to get up off their tuchus and do that. All right. So they authorize themselves this power, which they are able to do, correct?
Right.
And then they pull the trigger on enforcing the ONC Act and the Northwest Forestry Act. And so if Gang Green wanted to go after anybody, they'd have to sue Jackson County, wouldn't they?
And there's no money there. Plus the fact, Bill, there's the community wildfire protection plans, which the county can go, and the sheriff has to be in line with this because he's responsible for the ingress and the egress out of the counties on all the roads. They can log and clean 300 feet back from each road within each county. Then they can go into the WUI, which is the Wildlife Urban Interface, as much as 3 miles back. Can you tell me how many years' worth of logging would be in each of these counties just doing that and not even touching the ONCs?
That is a bunch.
Every single county has both of those programs in place. They're obligated to by law, and they're obligated to work it. And this is the big reason that those Title II and Title III funds are going away, is because nobody is following the law. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. So why give them the money to do it?
Yeah, they're using it for other things.
All right. Let's talk with Rick Holt, former Jackson County Commissioner. You're on with Loma and Ray from the National Constitutional Sheriff's Association. What do you say there, Rick?
That lady is so right on, I could kiss her.
Really?
Do it through the phone. You bet your sweet Bippy. If we don't start taking off on them now, we never will. Let's, old Joe Pine down in Arizona. There's people out there with some moxie and some, what do you call those things? Cojones.
So we didn't really know about this back. When was the last time you were in office, Rick? How many years ago was that?
I'm 75 now. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't really know about this concept, back when he was in, I guess, from the sounds of it, Ray and Loma.
Well, right. No. What I did know back then is when I found that to prevent them from tearing out the railroad tracks, I found the ONC agreement, which sets us apart, Jackson County, from anybody else as far as the ONC goes. That railroad line was in there for emergency, self-defense, whatever. And, it's just a question of everybody getting together. There's 36 counties in Oregon. And out of that, 18 counties are dependent one way or another on ONC payments. Now, it's similar to what Alaska does. If you live in Alaska a couple of years, you're going to get the profits, or you'll get some good things out of the oil profits they have up there.
All right. Rick, I appreciate the take on that. Thanks so much. 770-5633. So what you two are trying to do, Loma and Ray, you're trying to bust this apart and say, quit saying that it doesn't work. Before I take another call, though, how much work has actually been done, honestly, in Apache County, since the Apache County, Arizona people are upset that it's been poo-pooed?
Okay. The county itself did an 89-acre project, and the reason they did that is because it housed the spotted owl. Then the county opened it up for bid, and thus far they've done a little bit over 10,000 acres that they have cleaned. They've gone out, they've done the majority of the roads, they've set up some major fire breaks. Now, here's the thing. Apache County has horrible terrain, monsoon season, and terrible winters. So they have about a 5-month window that they can actually work in, all right? So they're not able to do a lot of work. But they have almost 200,000 acres on the books with approved projects ready to go over the next 3 to 5 years.
That is amazing. So they have wealth generation on the books coming. So this is good to know. All right. Loma and Ray, National Constitutional Sheriff's Association, we have about a minute left here. What is the next move? What needs to happen to break apart this fog of disinformation and non-activity that so many in local government seem to be hanging with?
This comes down to one thing, Bill. He who controls land controls water and food, and he who controls water and food controls life and livelihood. And the people have got to band together. They've got to come together, work together, replace the people in office who do not have the best interest of the local economy and of the people at heart, and to do what needs to be done to correct the situation here in the West.
Loma, Ray, National Constitutional Sheriff's Association, we appreciate you being on. Read up more on the mission and what they're up to. NCSA1.org. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.